In 2018, there was a murder at Oak Park High School. A teacher in the building was attacked. Her name was Catherine Whitaker. Investigators found evidence all around the building, making the scene of the crime unknown. The forensics team searched high and low in hopes of finding the murder weapon, but to no avail. The case has been passed on from detective to detective, but each of them failed to identify her killer. Without proper evidence, Catherine Whitaker's murder has become a cold case.
Through our investigation of evidence 1, we looked at the following places. We examined 9 different locations within Oak Park High School to determine where the murder could have taken place. On your investigation report, please make sure your name is at the top in front of investigation report, so your lieutenant knows who this belongs to. Your investigation report should have the shaded boxes filled in with a question mark or an X, determining whether this is still an area of investigation or whether it has been determined that is no longer a possibility. For example, we did the Ox Gym together and determined we could not eliminate it from the investigation, whereas the locker room did not match the blood type of the murderer, and therefore we can strike out it as a location. In these boxes below, you should have either a question mark or an X to indicate that room's involvement in the investigation. Let's take a look at evidence number 2, multiplying polynomials. If you are unsure of how to multiply polynomials, please reference the Day 2 work on Canvas. The murderer dropped a key with the number 4 on it. You have to try the key in the rooms that tested positive for blood, in hopes of narrowing down the location of the murder. If the door doesn't open with this key, then we know the murder did not take place in that room. Work out each room's lock and eliminate any room without a leading coefficient of 4. Here we have 2 expressions, and we can tell that we're multiplying them because there's nothing in between the 2 expressions. So we're going to multiply the x by both things in the second set of parentheses, and we're going to multiply the 4 by both things in the second set of parentheses. This is called double distribution. X times x is x squared. X times positive 8 is a positive 8x. 4 times x is a positive 4x, and 4 times 8 is a positive 32. Now I'm going to identify my like terms. X squared. There are no other x squareds in this expression, so I'm just going to drop it down. This is no longer part of my original expression because I've already recreated it here. I'm going to look at positive 8x. There's a positive 4x that goes with it. Positive 8x and positive 4x together make a positive 12x. I've used these 2 parts of my expression up and recreated them together here. The last thing is I have a positive 32. There are no like terms, so I'm just going to drop that down as well. X squared plus 12x plus 32. No like terms, so this is my final answer. This expression has a leading coefficient of 1. What is a leading coefficient? Leading coefficient is the number in front of the variable with the greatest degree. For example, this variable has a degree of 4. The coefficient, or the number in front of that greatest variable, is a -1, so the leading coefficient of this expression is -1. This expression has a degree of 3. The number attached to the exponent with the degree of 3 is 2, so the leading coefficient of this expression is 2. The leading coefficient of this expression is 3. The leading coefficient of this expression is 2. The leading coefficient of this expression is 1 because the greatest degree is 4 and the variable in front, x, has the number 1 imaginary in front. The leading coefficient of this expression is 4 because the highest degree is 3 and that is the number in front of that variable. You can see that the leading coefficient is the number in front if our expression is in order from highest degree to smallest. Evidence number 2 asked us to work out each room's lock and eliminate any rooms without a leading coefficient of 4. Since the Ox Gym had a leading coefficient of 1, it can be eliminated from the investigation. Let's update our investigation report with this new information. We're looking at evidence number 2, and we just found out that the Ox Gym is no longer a possible location for the murder. We're going to put an X in the Ox Gym's evidence 2 slot to indicate that is where we found proof that it can be eliminated from the investigation. After you've completed all of evidence 2, don't forget to take a picture of your work in order to submit your findings on your investigation report to your lieutenant. You can take a picture using your photo booth, drag it into the evidence 2 slot, save your document, and submit this most updated version on Canvas.